So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This is Match Bailey alongside my critic companion in crime, Ricardo Medina.
Hello.
And this is another episode of BS Beats and Bailey. So in today's episode, we have 3 movies to talk about and the season premiere of a show that honestly I thought was never going to come out. I thought that the studios behind the scenes would have just kind of given up at the last minute. But It's out now, and that show in particular is called Krypton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the season premiere, which aired, I think it was last Tuesday, on SyFy. I didn't get around to watching it though, but you saw it apparently. So you could share your thoughts on that. Also, a movie that I heard about last year, but I didn't get around to watching it. It's a satire, a political satire, by the name of The Death of Stalin.
Yes.
Right. Both of us, I should say, on the other hand, we saw the film adaptation of the reboot of one of the most popular games of the mid to late 90s, Tomb Raider. Yeah. And last but not least, we gotta talk about the sequel to one of my personal favorite Guillermo del Toro films, Pacific Rim, by the name of Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, we have some stuff to talk about that. But before we begin, just a little pre-ramble here. A few things that took place came out on YouTube. Like, for one thing, we got the music video for Migos Walk It Talk It featuring Drake. And the funny thing is, having listened to the album before, which was a huge chore for me to sit to listen to, honestly, because that album was pretty damn long, boy.
Yeah, okay.
It was 24 tracks. It was ridiculous. Like an hour and 45 minutes of Migos. Like, nobody asked for that. But I mean, I understand why when you think about it from a marketing perspective, because it's all about, well, for one thing, they have enough hits there to last for the whole year, for one thing, right? They could just put a hit song.
Oh, really? Because I thought it was only 2 or 3 good tracks on that whole thing.
Well, I'll get to that, right? So
right.
That's one thing. And then also, too, because of Spotify now, they will get more money based off of the songs that are based off the amount of songs that they have on the album. So this is like a trend.
Right.
So the more songs that you stuff into an album, then the more clicks or views or whatever it is, or hits, you get on Spotify. So as a gimmick now, apparently apparently Migos is going to make a lot of dough out of that. I personally don't like it. I like my albums to be cohesive and to a certain length. I don't want to be listening to an hour and 45 minutes of the same stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
But but to me personally, I don't want to go into like a random album review. Personally, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Like, there were some tracks that I just really didn't care for. And the odd thing about it is that one of those songs that I didn't care for was this song here, Walk It Talk It.
Yeah.
First couple of times I listened to it, swear to God, I fell asleep when I heard that chorus. It was just so dull. And the beat itself sounded like some kind of a lullaby, like doom, doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom, doom. It had this lullaby kind of vibe to it. And Drake didn't help things neither. No offense. But then that music video come out, and I was like, I kind of like this song now.
Right, the video is pretty well clever for the most part. It does this kind of take on Soul Train, same kind of camera look, same coloring, same video format, aspect ratio, they just replicate everything. And then everybody dress up looking ridiculous and dancing ridiculous.
Especially Offset. Oh my God.
Yeah,
But one thing though that is only when I watched it the second time I realized this. The video is set to 480p though.
Yeah, that was it. Everything basic and aspect ratio, format, everything.
Mm-hmm.
They copy everything.
Yeah, and even have a couple of comments, like if you scroll down, if you were to look at it right now, and they'd say, try watching 144p, it look like something out of a VHS tape. And I did.
Yeah,
I was
essentially.
Like, well, it actually does,
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know, that video was just hilarious to me. Seeing Drake was hilarious. Offset dancing was hilarious. But it was just fun. But it's something to me that, like, on paper it wouldn't work, but somehow because it's really Migos and Drake now, especially Drake, who is like meme worthy, because they just could have fun and be goofy on screen now. To me, that's what makes the video work.
Right.
So they don't care. They know they're gonna make a ton of memes out of it, but whatever. It helped them gain it helps in spreading the word around, and they love that kind of stuff. They feed off of that.
Right.
Yeah, so I honestly really enjoyed the video, and now I could say I like the song itself just a little bit more, and I'll confess now it's my ringtone.
Okay, well.
Yeah, because the chorus, I mean, as dull as it is quite catchy. Let's be real.
Cool.
Yeah. Second thing, second big thing that took place in YouTube, the release of the Deadpool 2, the trailer, Thursday. Well, last Thursday, time of this recording, I should say. Quick thoughts on the trailer. What were you thought about it?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. It's much better than I expected, because I was kind of worried about this movie, especially in hearing little weird little rumors involving some early screenings, and then one of the stunt women died.
Yes.
On set. That was unfortunate. So I was worried about this movie being working to second one. But yeah, this trailer looks like a lot of fun. Zazie Beetz, she looks great, as Domino. So I want to see what they're going to do with her. She's playing, the thing is, the Domino character is supposed to be kind of crazy and off the wall. Right. So she plays a kind of straight character compared to the more ridiculous figures that much like in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how they're going to have a play off of Deadpool, because Deadpool is supposed to be the ridiculous character. So I don't know how they're going to have a play. But yeah, she just played the kind of straight character, the cynical, jaded one.
Right.
Negasonic Teenage Negasonic Warhead, I think, comes back. She's back.
Colossus
has come back. Yeah, in fact, they're doing a bunch of X-Squad characters. So they call him Terry Crews. Although he looks more like the brother character, Terry Crews comes back.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
He wasn't.
Yeah, Terry Crews comes in, as I should say. Sorry about that.
But who's his character? Forget the name of the guy, right?
Hanan something, I think. I forget his character name. Yeah. It's like a side character, relatively small Marvel character. So I want to see what they could do. They make a bunch of jokes. One big surprise about the trailer is TJ Miller. I thought he would have been cut out entirely given all the shenanigans he's been accused of. Right. I thought they would have cut him out of the movie entirely. That is one big part of why I was worried about the film as well. They probably had to do a bunch of reshoots around him. But nope, he's in the film, so cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course Josh Brolin as Cable.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed the trailer as well. It reminded me, I think, is either the first or the second trailer for the first movie, and the one that had DMX, X Gonna Give It To You. In this case, they used El Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out, which still a brilliant song in my opinion. I think it works perfectly with the trailer. I love the meta humor here, where it's like, it's a sequel, so it's kind of less than like we might have another film, and how these new characters might get spin-off movies, just all these little random little tidbits and just bits and pieces of meta humor. I love that. It looks pretty badass. I mean, we could expect that. A lot of crass humor, all that kind of stuff. All these stuff that we expect from a Deadpool movie. But what I'm just worried about, maybe not as much as all that, but I'm just worried that, the whole R-rated vibe of it might get a little too monotonous or, redundant after a while. It's just like, well, yeah, we just like a rinse repeat kind of thing instead of doing anything smarter. But what I loved about the first film in particular is that as vulgar as it was, it really was poking a lot of fun at superhero movies at the time and how quote-unquote cliche and standard they were. I mean, admittedly they were. So it just kind of just poked fun at all of that, To me, that was like the secret sauce amongst everything that took place in the movie here. I'm not sure what we're going to get here with Deadpool 2. For one thing, I don't know if Cable will be like the ultimate antagonist here in the film. It kind of comes off like that. I'm not too sure who's this little kid that he's trying to hunt down.
Right. I'm not sure what his story is.
More Cable and X-Force and X-Men comics from it to understand. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, I just can't wait to see this movie do it. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find anybody who would watch this trailer and be like, I am not excited to see this show.
Right.
All right. So moving along now we're gonna get to TV shows now. And well, in your case, you saw the season premiere of Krypton. I wasn't too sure whether I should jump into it now because I'm done trying to keep up with the CW stuff at the moment. And it's kind of interesting that this show here, because it's within the DC universe, it's not in the CW as yet. It's on the SyFy network. Maybe the stuff behind the scenes, why it ended up there. I don't know. But you just want to jump in and to share your thoughts on season premiere of Krypton?
Yeah, so Krypton is... Okay, so basically, I'm not sure the exact story going on, but basically they just kind of it's Goya has a little history and material in terms of expanding on DC law in his own workable way. He's the one who's largely responsible for all of that Krypton stuff in the beginning of Man of Steel that came out in 2013, which wasn't that bad, although it had a sort of dumb bullshit in it. But it was not bad.
But it was like a really, I don't want to say unique, but
it was okay.
Probably one of the most memorable depictions of Krypton I've ever seen on screen, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the issue is that what they decided to do is say, well, it's not particularly clear, but it's supposedly in roughly something similar to the DCU as it is. But I don't think it's in the DCU universe. So what happens is that they basically decide to expand on that whole backlog of Superman and say, okay, let's go back to Krypton, but we're going back about 100 years, 150 years before the birth of Clark Kent.
Okay.
Right.
So everything was kind of centered on the eventual birth of Jor-El. Oh, sorry, of Kal-El.
No, well, Kal-El, no, right. So how it is, it's the main character, Sigel. Story starts with him as a child, and Sigel is Superman's grandfather.
All right.
We know, why I say it's about 100 or so years, because we know Kryptonians live about 120 some or so years, so we're not sure when exactly who was born and when.
Mm-hmm.
That's why about 150 years I willing to speculate. Doesn't matter. Point is, so the story starts where it's Sigel as a little kid, and his grandfather is executed for the crime of basically, well, it's implied that Krypton has some kind of religious uprising of some sort, and the grandfather is a scientist, and he basically makes the very blasphemous statement of you have other life on other planets.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah. So they apparently now discover that aliens exist to them, right? From their perspective. And the story now builds from that. So they jump about 10 years or so after that, and he's like he's like in his late teens, early 20s, and really too clear on what his age is. And they have him, because of what the grandfather did, they lost their name as L. So they don't have a title anymore. And they're very, very poor. They live in the kind of the bottom, kind of the gutter. They're barely making it meet. And they have Sigel character kind of hustling with his friend in the bar for money and all these little shenanigans. He gave him into a fake fight, and the fake fight was set up to make more money. Little shenanigans, little jokey stuff.
Right.
Then they cut to, I think, the security forces / House of Zod. So you get to see Zod's side of things, and it's a girl named Allura Zod. And so it's not necessarily related to Zod directly, but it's Zod as in the clan Zod or the House of Zod. So there's a whole bunch of people. Then she's chastised by her mother through a training session. And I forget the mother's name. I think the mother's name is Allura, if I remember correctly. I'm probably getting that wrong. I think the mom's name is Laura. I don't know if you remember one of the black Amazons in Wonder Woman.
She's the actress.
She's in it. Yeah, I forget the actress name. It's Anne something. Anne Umbogoyo or something like that. And she is the head of security forces on planet Krypton.
Right.
And so the story goes itself, and then a mysterious stranger who looking kind of weird, who's dressed in weird clothes, at least weird for Krypton, confronts Sigel through some, in a street brawl, because he got run in with some people. And then what ended up happening is that it's revealed that this guy is not only from the future, but also from Earth.
Huh.
And it's implied that someone come back from the past to basically do a Terminator type wiping out of Sigel or somebody in the L family to make sure Superman isn't born ever.
Oh,
that's the idea. So that's the story. And then what happens is that he gives Sigel a key, and the key is to lead to outside of the city, because they were living in the city of Kandor, which is a big little comic book reference.
Mm-hmm.
And he sends him to. So it's implied that his mom also knew what's going on, and then they had a bunch of drama in terms of. I just telling out the whole story pretty much, but basically the mom sell out the whole story with respect to the fortress. They couldn't find the key, but they get the key from the future anyway. And basically what it was is the Fortress of Solitude redesigned. And it's implied that it was just the Fortress of Solitude is a House of L design, not a Krypton design in general. Right. So they do that, which is that is a nice little take. And then the ending is pretty much where the mom and the father dies because of they had to hide the existence of the house the fortress and protect their son life, Sigel's life. And the story starts back where this guy, Adam Strange is a character from the comics. Right. He popping in and out from the future, so he can't stay indefinitely. So he's come back ever so often to help out Sigel solve the problem of what the hell going on with this time travel stuff. And then, he just revealed that Brainiac is coming. Right? Ooh. This Destroyer of Worlds, Brainiac is coming. It's pretty much the end of that. They have a little backstory involving remember in Man of Steel they had the whole Burton Chamber stuff?
Yeah.
Right. So in this they have that same thing where everybody have arranged marriages and arranged births, and this person joined this family and they forced Sigel to join another family, so his name wasn't Sig-El necessarily, it's Sig, I think Vans or something like that. Then he doesn't have the L name just yet.
Right.
But he didn't get it back. Then he's in love with the other girl who you're not supposed to, because she's supposed to marry somebody else, the Zod girl. But he having sex with her on the side, and they kind of sneaking about, but the mother kind of figured it out anyway. And it's kind of open secret in a sense, so you're not sure what's going on there. And that is pretty much it. It's just a lot of drama and everybody. It's all Shakespearean, but it's alien world, Krypton. And overall, it's not that bad.
Okay, but this story that you described to me, does it work?
Okay, so the thing is, it's the first episode, it's a pilot. Yeah. So as a pilot, it's not the worst thing ever, but yeah, it falls a little flat. But it's the usual pilot problems. It's
right.
Not the best editing. It kind of stitched together, not particularly well, because it's still kind of finding the footing. It's not bad, but it takes itself a little too seriously. And given the track record of the movies, I kind of worried about that. So anytime I see DC taking itself too seriously, you're worried that they're gonna get a product that's not so good, right? Except unless it's Nolan, right? Yeah. And the big problem is, David S. Goyer, right?
I'll to head up his ass kind of thing?
You know, he's the worst thing for the material in a long time, right? He's the one who penned Batman v Superman, and
he did.
Right.
How could we
and yeah, so he's doing this. He's pretty much the kind of lead writer / lead creator of this. I think if I remember correctly, he'd probably correct me on that, but he's heavily influenced in the creative direction of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that have me worried. So this could be good and it could start good, and then they'll just royally fuck it up when things now getting good, because it's Goya style, from my opinion. I'm somebody who doesn't really defend Goya at all, but yeah, I just kind of worried about it in that sense. As a pilot, it gets about a 6 out of 10. It's not the worst thing ever. It have its moments. The main lead himself, not particularly good. I think he was kind of fell flat. I don't really he doesn't really have any good screen presence for me, but he might grow on me eventually. The actual central premise isn't bad.
Right. Well, that was worried about. Like, if overall the setup, the story itself, does this make sense? Really?
Yeah, no, it works for the most part. The central premise isn't half bad. The idea, the time travel stuff, and the Superman as John Connor thing is decent. Not the worst thing ever. They have some interesting little character mysteries. Like, you have this character called the Voice of Rao. He was the person who is responsible for killing Sigel's grandfather back in the story, and that's kind of cool on its own. And so it have a couple of theories of who he is, and who, because you haven't seen his name, he hasn't said anything, but he's somehow commanding a lot of influence on Krypton. Okay. Right, which is weird. So you're like, how is he doing this? Who's this guy? And you never see his face. He does have this weird genus-looking mask on, which actually looks, from a set design standpoint, costume design standpoint, looks actually pretty cool. Yeah, I'm very nonplussed about it. Right, I don't hate it, but I'm nonplussed. I'm just like, okay, I watched it. It kind of fall flat. I'm not too excited, but it could go somewhere in the right hands. Unfortunately, you have Goya, so I doubt those hands are the right hands. That's pretty much it. I already have nothing to say other than that, because it's just a first episode.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a promising start. But again, if those movies didn't exist and I saw this, I'd have probably been hyped a little more. But those movies exist, and they kind of poison the whole well for me. By the time DC taking this out too seriously, especially with the big law stuff, right? Especially with Superman. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I'll check it out, but I have a feeling I'm gonna take my sweet time to do so. Like, I don't binge it. I'll probably watch it after like 3-4 episodes come out. I'll try to play it.
Right. I might do that myself. I get a feeling I will just wait till the season end if I get good word of mouth. and people say, hey, kind of dread it good. Okay, maybe I'll probably give it a chance.
Yeah,
I am
but
very,
God forbid if we get a Inhumans style disaster.
No, nowhere near that bad. I can't in good conscience say it that bad. It actually has structure and coherency, and you actually, again, you kind of care about the characters. Hate everything we're going on. But it's solid. It's fine. It's fine for now. Okay. Again, DC just have such a shit track record with taking this out so seriously. It's not particularly funny. Most of the humor doesn't really work all that well, so I don't really find that out.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to a movie, like I said at the beginning, I heard some stuff about it, but I just didn't get around to seeing it. It's called The Death of Stalin. But just found out this actually on the Wikipedia page right now. It's directed and co-written by a guy called Armando Iannucci. And for those who don't know, he is the creator of a show that I just now finally jumped on the bandwagon, HBO's Veep.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's so pretty much it does that style of political satire with this, except what it does. It's right. So it's much like with Veep. Is this biting black comedy almost?
I imagine the humor is like real brutal as well. Like
it's pretty good, but because
kind of take
it works.
Each other is very very brutal, but funny as well. Yeah.
Right. It works. Doesn't work as good as well with Veep because most notably because these characters, especially these actors, don't have as much good chemistry with each other as in Veep. Right. But it's still pretty good. And it does a biting satire of the Soviet Union because when the Soviet Union was bad, especially under Stalin, it was pretty bad. Things were so dark and the context of everything was so super disturbing. But this worked really, really goddamn well for me. Easily one of the best black comedies I've seen in a while.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, it's funny, but it's subtle. Like you have to notice little shit in the background and stuff going on in the context, like stuff in your face about some things, especially when it comes to the violence. And then other things are just subtle, and you have to know what to look for. Especially in terms of dialogue, and one of the things about the Soviet Union when things got rough is the whole people censoring themselves, or at least knowing how to censor themselves and who to be comfortable around when it comes to manipulating power. Especially so the show mostly revolves around Nikita Khrushchev. This is played by Steve Buscemi.
All right.
It's actually it's pretty well done. I was kind of confused as to who it is because Nikita Khrushchev is supposed to be kind of a little fatter, but this is a younger Khrushchev, so I suppose that's the idea. It's basically around Stalin's circle at the time of his death. And remember, the thing with Stalin is that because of the nature of his power and the propaganda and all the news, it's very unclear as to how exactly he died. So what they decided to do is say, okay, they decided to just tell that story of how he died. And it's they cobble together this narrative and then done in the context of political satire. What they do is, I forget who played what, probably you could just get out a list. But right, it's...
Well, I'll check it up here on the page here again. Well, you see, good to have it up. There's Simon Russell Beale, there's Paddy Considine, Rupert Friend, Jason Isaacs, Palin, whatever, and Jeffrey Tambor.
Right.
And so based off of a French graphic novel. Wow, look at that.
Yeah. So it's based on exactly. So while Jeffrey Tambor plays Malenkov, he's most notable in the storyline because he kind of takes over in Salad Space for a little while. They just have the working paradigm of just power and control. So the story starts with a concert, and the concert is everybody playing the concert, and then right after the concert ends, or at least right about when the concert ends, Stalin calls them. And Stalin asks if they have a recording of the show, and he say he wants a recording of that performance tonight. And he asks them if he recorded the performance, and they say no. So they had to replicate, do over the entire show, but they had to get the audience to stay as well. Immediately illustrate now. The scene is done really, really well. I'm not describing it particularly well for you right now, but it's just the subtleties of all the nervousness, and you're wondering if who listening to who over to, because the people were being bugged and constantly recorded as if they're not in line with the party now. Because everything is about testing party loyalty. And he had constant lists of kill lists that Stalin had. So if you're on a list, you're dead, and men will just disappear overnight or go sent to the gulags. It's super disturbing of what went on under Stalin, right? And this movie illustrates that culture of fear, but it does so. It's such a biting satire. It really, really works. Then, the story starts where, right, so the girl who's the pianist, she hates Stalin, right? She's religious, which is a big thing under Stalin's communist rule. She hated him. She sent a note to him. She slipped a note when the thing was recorded. So he got the record and his note slipped out. And he read it. And right when he was reading it, he pretty much dropped on his ground and he died. Now what happened is that because of the nature of Stalin, the two soldiers, they heard him fall down, but they were so afraid that they decided to not go in there. And it's only until the maid, I think, who came in to serve him tea in the morning, she discovered him being lying on the ground for hours upon end. Right. So everybody was afraid of making a mistake there. So it's all these little... Right, and why it works so well? Because it had such a culture of fear, you had a bigger culture of incompetence. Another thing under Stalin is that you had what we call the doctor's conspiracy, or the doctor's plot. Right. And it was this generally anti-Semitic plot, but it was really, he's worried that doctors may be planning to kill him. So he rounded up a bunch of doctors and on either exile or outright killed a bunch of them. So basically he had a brain drain by violence. And a bunch of lack of expertise in the medical community under him now. And so when it's time to help out Stalin now, he gets some of the worst doctors to come and help out. And it really works in terms, and then eventually the story leads into the funeral, and it just goes into the power dynamics of everybody trying to fill this gap with Stalin's death now. And there's this sheer culture of fear and sheer culture of incompetence that builds into the whole thing. Steve Buscemi leads the storyline. I forget who's played the other guy who was the real psychotic type. He was great in it. Stalin's daughter was great in it. His son was great in it. My boy Jason Isaacs, he was hilarious. He was the head of the army. He was fucking hilarious in this. And everything was just so well done and put together. Again, it's the guy who made Veep. Yeah, you're going to get that biting satire of a political process and political machinations. And I thought this movie was excellent. I didn't expect to enjoy this so much. I thought it would be good. It had people I liked in it. I really like Jeffrey Tambor, really like Jason Isaacs. I like to see these guys in action. And it just thoroughly worked for me. I'm just going to give him a rating quick. I'm going to give this an IMAX, just a solid IMAX. Actually, really like this. Yeah, I actually really like this movie. I'll give it a pretty high score on average. Everything it was funny. It fell perfectly in line with my style of humor. That nice back biting satire to everything, and it totally works. It flows quite well as well, and I think because I'm not a big fan of Veep, right? I'm not the biggest fan of Veep. It's for some reason I just can't get into it. I don't know why. I'll probably get into it years later and probably enjoy it, but for now it was. For whatever reason.
Alright, well, for me, sorry to cut you, but for me, because I now got into it, I think it's because personally I'm not that much into politics now. So the jargon, a lot of stuff, and I'd be like, okay, well, I imagine if I was American, if I used to watch Fox News and CNN a lot, I'd understand what's going on. But I just like it because it kind of just shows just how stressful and just ridiculous the job is. But the question I was going to jump into here now is that I'm wondering now that do you have to have knowledge of the history of Russia, especially with stuff?
A little bit. Actually, the thing is, at the time I was watching it, I was actually you kind of have to have a little bit just to get a working context of what's going on. But at the time of not knowing I was going to get into the movie at this time, because I just got invited to a screening with some friends. What happened is that I was doing research on the Soviet Union at the time for writing purposes, and it just so all my knowledge was working at the time, just being aware of the history and the narrative. So everything was extra funny to me, I suppose. In that way, now. Again, it's just you have to political context matters, and you have to know how and when to do a particular style of political context to make it work. And that's why I can't get into Veep, because you kind of know enough about American paradigm to see such a one-sided take on these jokes. Not that funny. for me.
Yeah.
But with this works so much well with the context of the writing and the approach. I really recommend this. I thought it was hilarious and great. But overall, I had to give this a pretty high score. I could see if you're not into the history, if you don't know the history enough, you may or may not like it because you won't see the supposed subtleties and layers of the jokes. But yeah, it worked for me and I thought it was great.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool, man. I don't know if I'll give it a look, but I'll make the effort one day.
Yeah, and give it a chance. I mean, it's still funny on its own. It still have great comedy beats on its own. So it's not like you need to be that knowledgeable. But yeah, if you are not to fully appreciate it, I'd imagine you probably need to know a little something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving along now to two theatrical releases. The first being Tomb Raider, and the second one, which you're going to see for last, Pacific Rim Uprising. So we started with Tomb Raider, right? So my history with Tomb Raider, I would confess, I never really got around to playing the PlayStation games in full. Like, remember when PlayStation 1 came out and you used to have like the demo CD, right? Where you used to have like a little couple of levels of particular games. Like they have Bloody Raw, they'll have Metal Gear Solid, those kind of things. So
yeah, a demo.
Playing like a little bit of the Tomb Raider game at that time, but I never sat down and played the full Tomb Raider 1 or 2 or whatever it is, right? However, though, knowing that this movie was coming out, I finally sat down and played the 2013 reboot of Tomb Raider, which I absolutely love. I love the gritty survival approach. It does live up to its M rating as well. I love the design that they do for Lara Croft. Make her very vulnerable, less of a sexual object, and more of just somebody who would just go beyond the limit to survive. Now, I really love that about the game, and just the situations they put you in the game, though. Just a lot of nail biting, white knuckle moments, though. They just had me on edge, though. So it was a blast from start to end. I haven't gotten around to playing Rise of the Tomb Raiders yet, and I know that there's a new one coming out sometime in September. I think it has something to do with a solar eclipse. That's what I gathered from the Facebook profile pic there at the moment. But I do love this reboot. I do love the idea of this reboot, because say what you want about the pixelated Lara Croft from the mid to late 90s, she was still an iconic video game character. Not just because she was a woman, but because of what she was doing. She was the female Indiana Jones, and I love that with the reboot here. It's more or less like reshaping it for the new generation, for the Me Too generation, basically.
So I used to have it on I used to have the demo. I only bought the third game in the franchise, but I had the demo. Used to play the Tomb Raider 2 demo, and I played a lot of that because at the time it was pretty impressive tech. The whole 3D, it was one of the first big 3D games. The camera used to move around so dynamic. You had a lock-on feature, you could have swim, and you could have do all of that. And I thought it was pretty cool on its own. I personally didn't really get the whole her being super attractive because she was just a blocky mess to me.
I know, right? But
apparently a lot of people was into that.
Because of how busty she was, I think that was like...
Apparently.
And the short pants, of course, so yeah.
Right, apparently. But it's like, alright, if you say so. But then they did an Angelina Jolie movie, the first one, and she
was one, and that one really sold the sex appeal of the character, and of course Angelina Jolie was like the perfect fit. Like, I don't know, the only reason to watch that movie now is just to ogle at Angelina Jolie. You know what I mean? Because she looked hot in it. Let me read it. Yeah. Movie itself, because I actually rewatched that and The Cradle of Life as a recap now. Because honestly, last time I saw those movies were when they actually came out, and boy, that first movie does not age well at all.
Right. I remember kind of liking it at the time, but it was a mess.
Me too, because you were young and it was after the Matrix, and it was that late 90s action vibe. But like a YouTube film reviewer once said for that movie, it was right before 9/11 took place. So that's where things, it was like this huge paradigm shift, and it can't just be all fun and cheesy with your action movies. You got to be a little bit more conscientious, a little bit more serious. And when The Cradle of Life came out, I'm not saying that Cradle of Life is a result of 9/11, but what I'm saying is that with that one, they try to be a little bit more serious. There was Jared Butler was in it. I actually forgot he was in this movie. But the thing is with me, though, is that the first 15 and last 15 minutes was where we got the tomb raiding. While the first one had the blend of action and adventure, you had the adventure stuff in the beginning and the end, and then all that chunk in between was just as well. I was watching James Bond. Like, this was the Angelina Jolie James Bond film. And then looking at both movies now today, it's clear that they was trying to push Angelina Jolie to be this action hero. And luckily, she kind of got that with a movie that I actually enjoy, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Right.
And, further on with a movie that I wanted to like, but it just real baffled me for some weird reason because of just how convoluted it was. Salt.
Oh yeah. That came
some convoluted stuff, but I was just like, what? Why? Yeah. But about them movies, though, your thoughts on the Lara Croft movies?
Yeah. I was as I said, I kind of like the first one. It got a lot right, at least visually, but then it got so much things wrong. It was just kind of, the main plot was kind of dumb. That whole, with this pyramid, and it had something that going to another dimension.
Yeah, it was weird. It was something about
some
time.
Nonsense,
And they only had this time to do this thing. And
right.
all kinds of stuff.
And it didn't, that's the problem with the script. It didn't need to go so high for the film. Also, it was surprisingly sloppy at times. Looking back at it. And it had like some really bad set design. I remember a lot of that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was about...
CG,
right, by the end of the day, it was all about Angelina Jolie. I thought she totally looked the part. She looked like, Lara Croft on screen. The big lips and the big eyes and the big bust. And she had the same physics, from the game. It's like, if you're doing a video game series. And I kind of put it on par with the first Mortal Kombat in a sense, in terms of this.
It's one of those guilty pleasure movies that you
exactly
like, because you could tell that they were having fun and they were trying to stay true to the fun of the game. But one thing, just one last thing about the first movie that kind of surprised me watching it again with a retrospective eye, was the humor though. Like, it had this kind of dry, I guess, British humor to it. The way how lines were delivered, the way how Angelina delivered her lines, how the other characters delivered their lines. It was just like really dry. Now it wasn't like Americanized where it's okay, we have to telegraph this joke here, we have to be all animated about it. It was just this kind of and move on. And I thought that kind of didn't work for the film, because it is technically an American game. So
I remember seeing the sequel though. I remember seeing the sequel for it.
What were your thoughts about the sequel?
Terrible, like easy, horrible sequel. Didn't make any sense. Didn't work. Didn't care for it. Really forgettable.
They tried. It's forgettable, but they try.
I think Daniel Craig was in that one, right? Or the second one?
Daniel Craig was in the first one, trying to do his best American accent. Jared Butler was in it, though. Like, early Jared Butler before he became Leonidas. You know what I mean? That was it. And I thought that he and Angelina Jolie, when they were together, had some nice chemistry there, though. But that story just took a long while to get rolling. But it was just, okay, we had to go here, and then we had to end up with some kind of James Bond / Mission. That's the thing. The film really felt like a Mission Impossible 2. Especially Mission Impossible 2. It had like that. I don't know. It just didn't feel like the Tomb Raider game. Is it really like it took the character of Lara Croft and put her in a city, basically, instead of in the jungle searching for stuff. That was the problem with the Cradle of Life. And then the actual Cradle of Life, the actual reveal was just like, okay, well, you're going to Africa, and Jijimon Houston was there.
Jaimin Houston.
Jaimin Houston, sorry, was there. I was like, okay, this is it. This is the Cradle of Life. This is the big reveal. Okay, whatever. But I do agree with you. It didn't really live up to the first one. Goofy as the first one was, at least it was way better than the Cradle of Life. I mean, admittedly.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's so really again it's much like with Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It first one good, interesting, but they just kind of not really putting an effort to it. And well, with this new movie, kind of getting some of the same nonsense though with the first film. It's like it's admittedly more polished, I suppose, but still like aimless.
I'd actually agree with you to an extent, right? But let me just run through the plot without revealing too much, right? So we are introduced to Lara Croft. I don't want to make the mistake that certain reviewers, like on YouTube, saying they always say Laura Croft. So I'm gonna say Lara. I'm gonna make the effort to say Lara. But anyway, so Lara Croft, who is played by Oscar winner Alicia Vikander, which is funny because her husband Michael Fassbender starred in one of your picks for worst movies of 2016, which was Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Yeah. So imagine that. So she plays Lara Croft. She is
the best. She's somebody best and somebody worst because she was an Ex Machina. So it's like,
yeah, exactly. Right. So she is a bike courier in England. Basically, she is aware that she is she can't inherit her late father's and property and all that kind of stuff, but she kind of doesn't really care. And then eventually she does, and then when she actually goes into the famous Croft estate, and goes into the building, she learns some more stuff about her father. Basically her father, Richard Croft, who was played by Dominic West, of all people.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, McNulty, man. Okay, you in the show too. I kind of forgot that from the trailer. The trailer came and went for me, so I was surprised to see him here. But anyway, so apparently he was on this mission, this exploration, basically in this island basically it's around by Japan, basically, so around in the Pacific Ocean, basically. And it's dealing with this ancient supernatural figure by the name of Himiko. Basically, it's like this witch, basically, this Japanese witch or something like that, or sorceress, I should say, right? And he was apparently missing, so everybody assumed that he died there, right? So she finds herself trying to find out the whereabouts of her father, trying to figure out what's going on with this whole Himiko, this whole Himiko journey. And then she finally finds herself on the island while the ship itself that she's in crashes, which is right from the game itself. Well, this is where the game actually starts, but we do get this sort of long introduction into Lara Croft and her life, which I'll get into with my review. So she's on the island and she confronts the evil Matthias Vogel, who is played by Walton Goggins, of all people.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. I'll talk about Matthias as well too. And she realizes that he's evil, and she's captured, and then she makes this little effort to escape, and then from there she's on the run. She just ends up in one scenario after the next, and then, slight spoiler, she runs into her dad, who is like still there, but pretty much he's given up on the journey, but now she kind of has to persuade him to continue on, and together they have to find the tomb of Himiko and all the secrets inside there before it's too late.
Yeah.
Right. So, thoughts on this new Tomb Raider movie? What do you think about the movie?
Again, this is not the worst thing ever, but again, it just, I don't know what to think about, because again, the feeling like it's one of those, it just feeling like, because it's so sequel baity, it just is an ad for another movie.
That was one problem I had with it.
It didn't really do anything with this. Like, she
was unnecessary.
Right.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't bad as Lara Croft. I think she was okay cast. Well, I'll say she above this material, frankly. But
true. But I think she was great, though. I think she was great.
She held the movie reasonably well, in my opinion. But for the most part, this as a film just didn't structure particularly well. I couldn't really get myself to care for it. Again, it just feels too much like an ad for another movie. That's the problem. It feel, I won't go as far as saying it feel a little bit like The Mummy in that sense.
Oh, wait, you were really going to compare this to The Mummy?
Yeah, it was just at least the intention.
Okay.
At least the working intention. Like,
all right. I got it.
Yeah, it's like they don't decide to plan ahead instead of making a good movie. But she herself was okay. Walter Goggins was alright, although I think in the game he was a little different, the same character.
He was actually a lot more theatrical with it. He was more like a mad, basically because he was so obsessed with Himiko, he kind of came off more theatrical. It's like, well, I must unleash the power of Himiko. And he was just like talking loud. But one thing, but just to cut it there for a bit, since we talked about the villain, with the game, personally, I felt I didn't really care for Matthias at all, because his character would just show up every once in a while. Like, it would be because you're following Lara, because of Lara's journey, is if she ends up at X point and Matthias is there, it's like, okay, well, he will say what he had to say, and it's like, stop, and all that kind of stuff now. But it wasn't really about Matthias's evil plan. So here, when I saw him there, and I was like, have a feeling he's Matthias, and then he says, "Yes, I'm Matthias Vogel." Like, all right, not surprised. But here, I felt once again I didn't care for the villain at all. And with this movie here, unfortunately, I felt that Goggins it's almost like he didn't have much to do. Just
he was kind of
evil, talk evil, and that was it.
He was kind of sleepwalking through the role now. Like, I'm not the biggest Goggins fan, because the last time I remember him was in this movie, Hateful Eight, right?
In that film.
In that, right. But in this, I was like, well, you just kind of don't want to be here, though. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just clearly is the material that they give him here. But just positives I just want to get out the way. So for one thing, I thought that Alicia Vikander did her best with this role. I thought that she really elevated the movie itself thanks to her performance. She was believable. She was I don't want to say relatable, but she was likable as well. She had the sort of athletic, body frame down, like, with this new from the Tomb Raider reboot, basically. So I like how they get that. I don't know if she did all of her stunts, but the stuff that she does, the physical stuff, look very much believable to me.
Right.
So I love to think that Alicia did a majority of her stunts. I would love to think so, actually. And even though I wouldn't say that her character was complex or fully fleshed out, I did like what they did here. I did see what they were going for. I felt personally, well, just to go into pacing, which is another issue of the film, I felt that the film take too long to get to the island. It was like a full 15 minutes or so of her talking about finding out stuff about her dad and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then this painfully unnecessary scene with her and her bike career friends and some kind of race through the streets of London involving some kind of fake foxtail and some paint. I was like wondering, like, what's the point of all this? What is this going to lead up to? Is it going to lead up to some chase in the jungle later on, really? But then at first I was telling myself, okay, maybe this is like a nod to the first Tomb Raider movie, because there was this one scene when I saw it, I was laughing at it, because just so, 2000s, right? Where you had Lara Croft riding at top speed with this motorbike through this bridge, basically, to get to some museum place, whatever it is. And it's like this real, cliche techno music you hear in the background. So I'm wondering if that was a reference to that movie. Also to the inclusion of Lara's father, Richard, right? I thought that was like I assumed, or at least to me, I felt that was a nod to the first film as well, with Angelina and her real life father, John Voight, right?
Right, yeah.
Because in the game, we don't see her father. Well, I don't know if her father shows up in the sequel, because I haven't played it yet. But I see what they were trying to do there. And then again, with the whole team that they were setting up with the whole father-daughter dynamic thing, which I kind of didn't need, but it was there. I was like, all right, cool. So we're going to play the whole, I love you, daddy, I love you, whatever, Lara, that kind of stuff. There wasn't any need for it, to be honest. I wish it could have just been Lara just surviving on her own. But I'm glad that we didn't have those friends of hers from the game itself. Remember, they were like 3 friends who went with her on the same trip, and they were over at the ship trying to rebuild it, and she was just doing all these missions now. I felt like the friends were just there for the sake of being there. Like there was no need for them to be there. But I'm glad in the movie they are non-existent at all. Another positive, the visuals. I thought that the visuals were great. Really, well, especially the jungle scenes, the way how the island look. Some of the storm scenes I thought looked pretty cool. There was some like bright flashing lights that didn't make any sense, but visually it's competent. I'll say that much. One gripe, and the recreation of certain scenes from the game I thought worked. Like for example, the rusty plane, the waterfall, where they kind of integrate those two together. The waterfall. If you play the game, it's the waterfall, and then it kind of leads to her in this parachute. I hate that level, by the way. I hate that level. But so you have your parachute stuff, you have her running, and of course, you have her with the bow and arrow, you have her with that pickaxe as well. Yeah. And in the end, with the sequel bait, which I'll get into at the end, you do see with the 2-gun stuff, right? Which we know from the old games and from the Angelina Jolie films. One gripe, though, is, as somebody who enjoyed the first game, not enough jungle scenes with Lara, though.
Right.
Almost like because of how poorly the film was paced, it's just like, okay, she in the jungle, she do what she had to do, and then all of a sudden the last half hour is her in Himiko's cave or tomb, wherever it is, trying to figure out puzzles and stuff like that. It's like not enough jungle stuff there. I think that really what made the game work is the jungle stuff. Her being out there in the wild, trying to survive, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. I felt I like the movie didn't give me enough of that, you know? Right. Once again, I say the villain didn't really, do anything from her. Some of the side characters didn't do anything from her. Dominic West, I mean, he's there, he do his thing, but I felt, honestly, it's either one or two things. Either he shouldn't have been in the movie altogether, or it could have given him some more to do. So that's my opinion on it. And then the last act itself, the third act, ultimately didn't really wow me though. Like, yes, it had some great moments, some life or death situations here, but it didn't really have many edge of my seat. That was just more like, yeah, but wish he had more jungle stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. I felt, this overall felt flat for me. Again, it didn't feel like a movie. It just felt like, well, okay, this is what they're doing with it. Yeah. And they so sequel bait all our ahead of time instead of counting eggs. I couldn't really get into it as a product on its own.
Right. Just before we get to rating, right? So about the sequel bait in here, right, and then we'll get to rating. There was no need for that, to be honest. The big reveal, like I was watching this thing, and swear to God, I was telling myself, but better just get the Saw music and play it there. The dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 because the way how it edited is all like, well, you remember what he said, remember what she said, remember that document and all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's actually that bullshit. And I was like, wait, this is so I watching here. What the hell is this?
Yeah, exactly. This is the extra bullshit. That not
stop at that point, and I was like, okay, you're gonna end it like that, all right. But then we have this pre-credit scene actually, and slight spoiler, that's where you see Lara with the two guns. I was like, okay, so you're clearly hinting at a sequel here. All right, kinda blatant, but we didn't need that. Sorry.
I don't know. Again, another thing too is that Alicia Vikander just feel like, again, I think she above this material, frankly. But you say she was good for it. Yeah, it does feel like she just doing this one for the paycheck. Like
Well, I mean, good. I mean, she committed. She committed, and that's
she
do Oscar
all the costume, right?
But she did a great job. I find personally.
Right. No, she did, and she's like a kind of working human canvas in my opinion, because she really looks good with all of the beat up, all of the makeup for scarring and whatnot. That stuff looks good and as if works in the world reasonably well, especially in the context of the new video games. Where's the rating for this?
For me, I will give this a very light 3 out of 5. It was alright. It doesn't have the cult pulpy goodness of the first Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie, but it does really. You could tell that the creators, the director and stuff like that, they try to stay true to the 2013 reboot. So for that, I give them a pass for that. It's just the problem is that there was, I mean, I would admit the story in that wasn't really all that perfect, but it was enough for you to really care about the character and for you to play the game to the end. So at least what they could have done was just stick to that, but instead they want to add more backstory to Lara and this thing with her dad, which I felt dragged on, and it's all about the dad and the dad. It's like, no, it's about survival in any day, not this whole I love you daddy kind of stuff. I felt really dragged on the film. Also, if you want to have a villain, make him a little bit more, give him a lot more life, give him more meat, give him something to do instead of just like scowling and stuff like that, and looking tough and acting tough, but you could tell that he just don't want to be in the movie. But yeah, with all those flaws aside, I imagine fans of the game itself, of the characters, would find at least something to enjoy in this. It's not perfect by a long shot, but I would say it is one of the better video game to film adaptations we've gotten in quite some time, and that is saying a lot.
Right. Okay, I get this one a high CC. It's
okay, which is funny because that's why I went to see it. And I had the misfortune of seeing it in 3D, and I was telling myself, but this show don't need to be in 3D though. I don't tell me that whole plane scene needed to be in 3D. No, it did not.
It's pointless.
Pointless.
I didn't see it in 3D. I didn't see it on normal screen. Yeah, it just fell flat for me. I just couldn't get into this one. Again, it looked good, but at this point in the discussion, we really need to do better than this when it comes to video game movies. So I couldn't get this one. I couldn't get into this one. It fell flat. Again, Ricardo was okay, but again, artistic, she was above this material, frankly. So she didn't need to be here. They could have, I'd imagine they get worse. They couldn't get a worse actress, because that actress would have probably fucked it up royally.
Yeah.
So they needed somebody above the material, I suppose, but she was way too above the material with this one, but whatever. Yeah, that's high CC8. I didn't hate this, but they could have do better.
Yeah, but in closing, well, two things actually. So first off, so with this hint of a sequel, which I kind of was like, we really need a sequel for this. Here's hoping that they actually do the material more justice, and it really does feel and live up to the Tomb Raider name, for one thing. And secondly, I mean, you had to admit, Ricardo, this was better than Assassin's Creed. I know I haven't seen Assassin's Creed.
Oh no, yeah, Assassin's Creed is
sure this
much better.
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed was like a complete clusterfuck. I mean, nothing about that movie made sense or worked. And talk about a string of bad decisions. I mean, if I would have been more pissed if I actually liked the Assassin's Creed franchise, but I don't. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me, when I was watching my Assassin's Creed, I was like, wow, Michael Fassbender, what is you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that dude seriously needs to fire his agent. It's like, there's a bunch of fuck-ups after fuck-ups. They just get the man in. This snowman. So that like sort of bullshit. Whatever.
See, probably watch the show here. It's like, yeah, that was good. You know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, so last but not least, boy.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah.
So before we get into this movie here, so I will talk about my history with Pacific Rim, right? The first film. I saw this in IMAX when it came out in 2013. I had a blast with this movie. I own the Blu-ray for this. And, for me, I would strongly say that if you are building your Blu-ray collection or you don't have this in your collection, you need to have it. This is one of those shows that looks very polished. The visuals are amazing. And that sound design, oh my God. This is one of those movies you just have to crank your volume up to 11 and just enjoy the barrage of just noises that you hear from, the kaiju and the Jaegers and all that kind of jazz there. But just about the movie itself, for me, seeing that it was directed by, my boy Guillermo del Toro and co-written by him actually, I thought that it was right up his alley, but also it was a little risky as well because, it's not the more artistic stuff like he did before, like say what you do later on with Crimson Peak, or he did before that with shows like the Devil's Backbone and Panama and all that kind of stuff. This was more big budget Hollywood stuff, and he has done it before. Well, more small scale like with Blade 2 and Hellboy 2, but this one was like a full extension of what he was trying to do with Hellboy 1 and 2, just broadening that scope now. Now, talking about Hellboy here now, for me, I felt that the first Pacific Rim felt like Hellboy, where this is not a gripe actually, but I do understand in terms of just creativity, is where you're introducing viewers to a whole new world, right? You're doing this world building, all that kind of stuff. But you want to try new things out, you want to try new characters, but you're not giving them too much time and stuff like that. So you're kind of like, okay, it's almost like he just approached it like baby steps. Basically, it's like, all right, I'll try this out. If this don't work, then I will not have this in a sequel, right? So, seeing it with Hellboy, with certain characters and certain plot points, you got that here with Pacific Rim. The idea of the Jaegers, how the whole neural handshake and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I would admit, like the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, two pilots, telepathically controlling this thing. This makes no sense. But they explain it in such a way, and they show it, not just explain it, but they show it, and it's like, okay, I could buy into it now. So overall, in a nutshell, the premise is silly. Like when you think about it, it's silly, but it has this.
So you're wondering why they can't just use. Yeah, from a war world building standpoint, it makes very little sense.
Yeah,
but it's like whatever. You wonder like why they just can't use nukes, or they can't just use jets or whatever. It is like normal. Right? Never makes sense. Why does it need a big punchy robot?
Exactly.
But no one cares. You just want to see a big punchy robot.
That's it. Because just to round things up here. Because for one thing, it gave you exactly what you expected. That whole Saturday morning anime robot versus monster stuff. But also, what I love the most about it was you could tell that there was a passion towards it. There was love for it, especially from Del Toro and his fascination of monsters and stuff like that. The care and detail that he put into not just the kaiju designs but also the Jaeger designs. You know what I mean? You could tell that this man was passionate about this series, about the world of Pacific Rim, and I saw that with this movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of my personal favorite Del Toro movies.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was solid. Is one of those people you can tell again a passion project, but he above the material talent wise.
Of course,
I somewhat enjoyed the first film. I just thought some of the action was a bit too slow for me, frankly, but it worked for the most part. You have to get a sense of big giant robots moving around.
Yeah, the scale of it, the camera angles worked perfectly.
Yeah, he knew how to shoot it, how to pace out the story, and it worked reasonably well in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise, frankly, because again, it's just a little too. We see it with Neon Genesis Evangelion, we see Gundam, we see all of these things before, and this didn't really bring anything to the table that was particularly interested. Idris Elba was a badass in it; it was great.
Of course,
he had some great.
That famous speech,
right? Which is a little derivative from Independence Day.
Yeah,
a little derivative from Independence Day, but whatever. And yeah, the movie worked for the most part.
Oh, you mean the actress who played Mori? Rinko Kikuchi. I thought she was great though. Like her English, how she spoke English, it was great.
They're gonna tell the story a little differently in terms of structure, like who was supposed to say what and when, and whose perspective should I go by to tell a better story. But still, it's stitched together reasonably well, and I had a lot of fun with it.
And Charlie Hunnam, I know some people hate him, but I thought that he was pretty good. He was pretty good at this.
Charlie Humdrum.
Oh Lord, I don't know. For me, I think it's just because that I watched Sons of Anarchy and enjoyed it. That's why I could stomach him as an actor. Some people who never watch the show might watch shows like this and King Arthur, which we reviewed last year, and be like, he's just terrible. But I just see him as like, he's not bad. No, just in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, but for me though, I just love the visuals. I love the robot on monster action. It was just so insane and over the top. And one thing that I loved also was the visual aesthetic of it. The whole dark neon colors that they use here, which this film here is like a stark contrast from it. But I'll get to that in a bit. Yeah. But you just wanna so before we jump into Uprising, so we were hearing talks about a sequel for a long while, right? Like, well, maybe get Del Toro want to do a sequel. Then again, maybe he might do a Hellboy 3, and then he said, no, you're not going to do a Hellboy 3. Somebody else going to do a Hellboy 3. And then, no, I'm not going to do Pacific Rim 2. And I was like, oh, God, really? Dude, you were the reason why the show worked, but
he's probably one of those in Hollywood who just have a ton of ideas and that will apparently never get done. So, I was surprised that Pacific Rim even got off the ground, and people really wanted it to exist. But again, because I thought Pacific Rim didn't really do anything that interesting with the whole kaiju mech stuff, wasn't too excited for sequel.
Come on, I think
still
that's the big selling point. It's
still I wasn't. That's nice, but I was still not too hyped for it. But anyway, them not doing this. Yeah, them not doing the sequel. I was like, okay, I was largely nonplussed about that. By that point, the movie with the house, I forget the name of
Crimson Peak.
That came out. Crimson Peak, right? That came out at that point, and I was like, all right, cool. And then he was pushing for the mountains and madness stuff. But then we heard he was doing a somewhat derivative style monster movie, but we don't know exactly what it was. And that went on to win an Oscar.
Yes.
So he now could tell anybody anything, but it's good timing and marketing to put out this Pacific Rim movie and starring John Boyega, right?
Yeah, and also this time directed by Stephen S. The Knight,
right?
Who, he directed episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, quite recently some episodes of Daredevil, and this right here is his first feature film directorial debut.
Yeah, and so to jump into this movie...
What is Uprising about?
Well, I don't want to get into that, just to talk about it 2 seconds. Boyega is like the only mainstream black star who's not in Black Panther. But he get a headline his own mainstream franchise, and he just jumps off of the events of this. So anyway, to get into this film, it's basically it's 10 years after the events of the first film?
Yeah, it's 10 years. It's 10 years.
Right, so it's basically, what's his character name?
His name is Jake Pentecost.
Pentecost son. Right, so Pentecost son.
Who died in the last film.
Yeah, Pentecost son is a kind of wayward, loose man. He partying all the time, hustling, and basically
and also trying to steal old Jaeger parts, basically.
Right, to sell.
Like in the black market, basically. Yeah.
Right, he's going to make money. And then what happens is that he find some girl who's billing she own Jaeger. Yeah, sort of shenanigans and adventures. They get catch. With the new Jaeger, because apparently making Jaegers on your own is illegal, which makes sense. And they basically find themselves having to train a bunch of new generation of recruits involving this new Jaeger program. But what happens is that they're on the edge of being kind of ousted by a drone program that'll be a big difference. And apparently a single person could handle the drones, which I don't really see why they would be ousted of a job, because you're just still training to be a pilot anyway.
Yeah.
You just want to be in the damn Jaeger.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. Anyway, you find out it's a big plot. It's a twist. I don't want to sell out. But it's a good logical extension of the events of the first film, and it makes a lot of sense actually, in my opinion. And then what happens is that they had this big mystery involving a new Jaeger, apparently an evil Jaeger, and they're not sure who it was, and they solve this mystery. Certain characters come and go in it. We're not sure what went on. I don't want to spoil that. And you're gonna have to get the new team together to fight new monsters, as you see in trailers.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I can't talk about too much of the plot because it has some decent enough twists in it. It's just film as a film itself is just so badly edited, so poorly put together and so poorly stitched together, and just generally bad filmmaking. But I like the premise and I really enjoy the action in this, for the most part. But yeah, what's your take on this, boy?
So positives out of the way, right? John Boyega. I thought that he was great as Jake Pentecost.
Yeah, he's good.
He was charming. He just oozes charisma. He had some decent laughs as well, and I really did feel his character as well, in terms of he does not want to be his father. He says that within the first minute of the movie. He is not his father. He does not want to be his father, right? He doesn't want to be a hero. So you do see where he kind of gets involved with this new Jaeger program. We just kind of playing by the emotions, basically. He just doing it and then he just leaves. But he does not want to be a hero. But eventually, of course, he has to step up to rise to the occasion. So I like that. It is a character growth. Gail Kaylee Spaney, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She plays Amara. I thought that she was pretty good. She for a second she reminded me of the Latina girl from my worst movie of 2016, which was Transformers.
Totally remember. I couldn't help but think of her because she was the character I was thinking of exactly when seeing her for the first time.
But fortunately, she had purpose in the movie. They didn't just throw her in for the hell of it. At least they ended up recruiting her, basically. But they didn't mention that. They ended up recruiting her into this this young cadet kind of program.
Yeah, the cadet program, right?
Yeah. Because the idea is that as you're younger, you don't have to worry too much of these memories because
it's easier to link with another person if you're younger.
Yeah, especially if you have a scarring memory that could really mess things up, especially when you're trying to sync together before you go out to battle, right? Who else? I appreciated the appearance of Rinko Kikuchi again. She plays Mako.
Right.
She's the older sister, quote unquote, of Jake, even though she's adopted. Scott Eastwood, boy. There's a lot to say. He's a pretty boy that just
which I do give a shit about
at all. I know, it's just so sad though. It's like you will never live up to your.
But he is 3 big franchises he get into, and all of them you don't give a fuck about.
He was in Suicide Squad.
He was in Fast and 8, right?
Furious movie, and now this movie here.
I don't give a shit.
I don't know if he had to just give this man a dramatic role and
no, stop trying to make him happen. No, but that was happening when you have second generation stars. You know where you can write acting is not genetic. Sorry, so a lot of acting is just straight up luck.
Yeah.
And you have some talent and you could learn some tricks from your parents maybe, but he don't hold a candle to what the father could do. So it's like nobody give a shit.
Totally.
And it was still terrible.
I kind of like the dynamic that they gave with him and Jake. So it's like
right.
we used to work together. So like Jake kind of leaves. So now Jake just kind of takes shots at Nate, and Nate is all like, well, we have to stay focused. So it's that kind of back and forth thing. It made it's made for a couple of good moments, but I mean it wasn't too much. So fortunately for that, Jing Tian, really attractive Chinese actress. Saw her in Kong Skull Island. Well, her character was wasted, in my opinion. She was in that Great Wall movie that forgot about. But
that's good about it.
Her character was pretty interesting. Well, she's the one who more or less helmed this the
drone program.
This drone program, basically, right?
Yeah.
So it's her thing. The last character I want to talk about, boy, Charlie Day, boy.
Right, there's something involving him in the story, and I thought I actually like what they do with that. The premise, at least, but I like the premise. But this movie was so sloppily done and sloppily put together. It's really a shame that they couldn't get a better filmmaker to stitch this idea together, because the premise is a good premise, but it's just so badly done.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna get at actually, because I do agree with you, right? So him and Bern Gorman, who played Dr. Herman Gottlieb, they show up. See, like what I was saying before with Hellboy trying new things, I felt that Charlie Day and Bern Gorman was like two of the experiments in the film, where it's like, we gotta have these Abbott and Costello characters, but I wonder if they'll work, boys. So let me just put them in the film and have them do this stuff and see what happens, and if people like it, we'll bring them back. So I guess people did, and they're back in this film. Gottlieb is there, but he doesn't do much, which is, I mean, whatever. But Charlie, though, his character, though, is still that kind of high-pitched, kind of loud character, really animated. But, and then they do something with him, which is reminiscent of what happened with him in the first movie, involving a kaiju brain, that's all I'll say. But the twist in it caught more off guard yesterday, and I liked it, right? I liked it. But then the way how it was executed even further, like when the film stops and it asks, well, why did this happen? It just didn't make any sense for me. It just did not work at all.
No, well, again, I don't want to get into spoilers, but yeah, pretty much I actually like the idea of what they do with it. But then the problem is that they had to stitch this together to have it making better sense.
That's you're right.
Right.
And to me,
and then one problem is that they had to just think about the central argument about why they couldn't do this on the first film. It's like, wait, what? Why didn't you just do this in the first film?
Right.
Because that should have been a thing, right? Wasn't it happening for years?
That's the thing. Like,
whatever.
So out of nowhere, right? That's all.
Right. That was kind of dumb, and they just do this big info dump, which didn't make any sense to me. Yeah. But I didn't really have a problem with all of that.
Right.
To me, look, this movie is complete trash, but it's my kind of complete trash. It has happened to cater to my sensibilities, because I really enjoyed a lot of the action. In fact, all the action sequences was kind of badass in this.
Right. I was gonna get to that actually. Yeah, for one thing. So I do like the action scenes here. Like at first I was worried about how the daylight scenes would work, because I love the nighttime neon lit aesthetic of the first film. But the daytime shots actually work. It
look great.
It looks great. It really does. Yeah. Right. And I thought the visual effects, for what it's worth, were pretty good. Not great,
they look good. It's still cartoony, but it looked good.
Yeah. I mean, like the Jaegers themselves, they look cartoony. They have their own little skill set and whatnot. It looks goofy, whatever, but somehow they make it work. But I'll talk about some bits of the action scenes in a bit, right? But now onto problems, right? So let me actually get to the action scenes themselves. Remember a little movie called Man of Steel, Dread?
Yeah.
I remember when people was real complaining about how Zod and Superman were just destroying Metropolis, and all that damage and destruction, and how lies and property damage, all that kind of stuff. Well, this one here in this movie, they take that to a whole nother level.
This movie actively did give a fuck.
They did not give a shit at all with that.
They did like,
oh my God.
Okay.
Like, there's one scene where slight spoiler, they are using buildings.
It's a slow again.
Throwing building after building on a kaiju. I tell myself, I was like talking out loud in my head, and I was like, but that's a business place. That's a business place. That's another business place. What are you doing? Why? People work there. What you doing?
Yeah, business at small.
And then I wonder about what, like, they use this anti-gravity whip thing to rope up some cars, and they throw the cars into a ball, and it's just insanity. That's the problem. The pacing I thought was
atrocious,
not good at all though. Like I was really checking my watch, asking myself, where are the kaiju and the fights I was promised in the trailer? I'll talk about that trailer as well, remind me. Because in the first film you got kaiju versus Jaeger.
Well, that's the whole point of the. But that's the point of the plots. I don't really mind. But at the same time, it's like, they need to stitch it together in terms of the narrative. Because if they needed a better filmmaker behind this. Like, that would not be a problem if it was working on the plot. Because again, it works as a sequel in principle, right? Like, if I did read this script, I'd be like, this is not that bad though. But then, when it's come to actual edit and execution, they fuck it up royally. They just had great set pieces, and then they had okay character chemistry. But then had really, really bad narrative and editing process, and as I said, piece in there.
Right.
This is not Independence Day.
Well, actually, you're right. Though, I was actually going to expand on that, but you are right in terms of those points. Because I would admit, just like I said, they have some great ideas, some great sequel ideas, some great concepts. For one thing, a rogue Jaeger. Never saw that before. That's pretty interesting. The idea of a Jaeger on Jaeger fight, we never saw that before. I think that works too. The idea of the drone program, I think, is an interesting idea too. But then you kind of had to think about, we still have these old Jaegers still. So, like, because I mean, if they set it up like Jaegers are just too old, and now we have drones. Like,
and they could have
sense. But now that you have Jaegers and a cadet program, and now you have this Chinese corporation doing drones, like at the same time, it's like, why?
Right. They didn't, as I say, they didn't take this out the way they should have. And as I keep repeating myself, a better filmmaker could have sit down and say, all right, this is how to make this work and have it flow. You punch up the script a little bit and say, okay, change this part of the script, because the idea of the old Jaegers being retired was kind of interesting. They could have do that. But they didn't really do it properly, because but the Jaegers still being well maintained and well funded and everything like that. So you didn't get a sense of time pass or anything like that. We call it Makimoro? Mori?
Right. Mako Mori.
Mako Mori, right. Mako Mori.
Or Mako.
She they could have her character, but I know she had to serve a purpose, and she served the purpose. But they could have make it work in terms of the time being passed, and you really get a sense of 10 years being passed with it. And it was just a total muddled script. I suppose they had too many arcs going on, and they couldn't they couldn't decide, okay, we need to cut this and you could keep this and move that, so you end up just putting everything in one, and it's like, no, you had to remove more than keep.
But really, I don't want to put all the blame on Stephen S. the Knight.
Right.
I mean, it is his debut and it shows, but I felt with his background, he could have brought some, once again, like Del Toro, brought some sensibility to this, some foresight into this. But this one, with this movie here, unfortunately, I hate to say this way, it's almost like they just wanted to make this into the new Transformers. And
totally.
The ironic part is that the first movie was not that. It didn't set out to be the new Transformers. Like, that one came out after that atrocious third Transformers movie, right? So it's like, okay, well, it's like a new take on the whole the whole mecha thing, but in this case, we have monsters now. Okay, this is cool. But this one here feels like just branding, but like, from the bright aesthetic to the use of younger characters as well. It's just like, okay, we have to make this into the new Transformers, into the new Power Rangers. As a matter of fact, this about Power Rangers. I'll just get into that last act before I get to it, right? So pacing wise, yeah, it's atrocious, right? It takes so long to get to what it is we asked for, which was kaiju versus Jaeger. And I mean, I was liking the ideas that we were getting, but I felt that it was just so much ideas, and it felt like badly stitched together. It's like, okay, we have this idea here now, then we add another one, then you have another one, and then we're gonna bring back this character here and that character there, and it just felt so. It didn't feel cohesive at all. So the idea checking my watch, asking myself, okay, so are we going to get an actual scene, actual, battle between Jaegers and kaiju? And we get to think to that boy.
Yeah.
But boy, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. I got that fight, boy. My God, this fight, that whole scene, that whole sequence, sorry, is insane.
Yeah, like, just over the top nonsense.
The equivalent of what I was complaining about with last year's Power Rangers, but I was just more talking about how dumb certain things were, especially with how the Rangers themselves move. This one was just like, okay, like basically with the first movie, there was a fine line between logic and just absurdity. And with all the plot points that they throw in Uprising, there's some logic to it now, but then something might happen and it'll just flip and then it'll be absurd. Biggest case in point, Charlie Day and what they do with him.
Right.
Logical when you think about it, but then you flip it and just make it look so dumb and awkward and absurd. Yeah. But then this last act, boy, that whole fight scene, yes, visually it's a blast, it's fun to watch, but my God, it was dumb. It was real dumb. And of course the movements of the Jaegers themselves. I mean, it's fun to watch. And I did find myself caring for the characters when they were getting whooped by these kaiju.
Right.
But
well, that's the thing. The fight was dumb in terms of like certain character decisions and what they was making. It's like, wait, why you don't stay?
Definitely.
Why you don't do this? Why you don't do that? Well, I didn't mind because it was when it got going, I didn't really have any problems with it. Right. So it's like, well,
and this last slight spoiler before we get to the full, before we get to our Rachel stuff, is why they say Mount Fuji, boy.
Right, that cracked.
I was like, oh my God!
But it's such a Japanese thing.
There with this, You're really going there with this,
and it's about like a bunch of like kaiju in jokes as well. Like you saw the little Gundam at that point in this Gundam statue in Japan. Stuff like that. Now, again, when you mentioned Mount Fuji,
the people running away, like
right.
It was funny to watch,
right?
But I couldn't help but I couldn't help but compare this to the movie and to the first film, and really see that large dip in quality. But I was like, wow, boy, you really dropped the ball here, boy. This is not. Like you could clearly see Del Toro was not involved in the creative process.
Well, he was a producer.
That was it. But
right, that's it. Yeah,
you could tell that this man had nothing to do with the creativity here, but it just painfully shows here.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it is dumb. It is silly. You will get some fun out of it, especially if you like the, that Jaeger stuff. Like it's there, but I felt that what we were promised in the trailer, which by the way I felt was misleading, because the majority of the scenes that you saw in the trailer was just off of that last act. Sorry, it is, right?
Right.
So very misleading for one thing. Lot of plot points here, and I understand why they did. I mean, it's a sequel and stuff like that. But once again, it's just a perfect example of bigger doesn't equal better. Right. I'll just end this off here. It really did remind me of like the sequels to Transformers movies, and this worries me. Like this really did feel like part 2.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I know. I'm seeing
to what happened with Charlie Day, which is kind of like a comparison to Shia LaBeouf's character. That's all I'll say about that. But yeah, it does feel like that. I
know a handful of people who defended this movie. It's like I heard a couple of people say they prefer this one to the first one, which is a bit of a stretch in my opinion. I didn't hate this, but yeah, it just really unfortunate. Somebody more talented and just had a little better, let's just say more conscientious, could have done a better job with this and have it pieced together better. I didn't hate this, but yeah, it just didn't overall work at all, and it just needed a better stitching together to make it work. Just cut certain things, cut some bullshit, and yeah, overall, written time now.
Yeah, I would give this a strong 2.5 out of 5.
Right.
See it if you want to see it. I mean, if you just like that kind of goofy, cheesy Saturday morning stuff. But by the way, with a story that tries to take itself too seriously at times.
No, okay. The one thing that pissed me off was the last line that John Boyega said is like, that shit don't make any fucking sense with your CD.
Oh, Lord.
It's just so goddamn dumb. And this is sequel bait nonsense. Right. Total nonsense.
At all.
Yeah, overall, I'll give this.
To round it up for me. So really wanted to enjoy this movie. I really wanted it to live up to what the first one did. Not just in terms of the visuals and stuff, but just the passion, the conscientiousness of it all. But to me, it just felt like just branding. It just felt like they wanted to be like the next new Transformers and stuff like that. It painfully shows. Everybody tried. But just ultimately just kind of fell flat.
Yeah, kind of crappy. Yeah. I get this one a high CC it. Again, it's trash. It's complete trash, but it's my kind of trash.
Yeah.
And I just happened to have a lot of fun with it. But it was really unintelligently put together, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. And as I say, you had fun with it. I had fun with the first movie. But I really don't know if I'll be watching Uprising in a hurry, though. I'm definitely not going to be buying this on Blu-ray. Nope.
Right.
Nope. No. But I don't know if I'm going to be watching this again, to be honest. Just last things last. Like, I know for sure Del Toro probably will not be jumping back into the director's chair for the next Pacific Rim movie, which is a shame. And I don't blame him, actually. He reached a level now where he don't need to do this anymore. He don't need.
But he done with Oscar, so.
Yeah, he's beyond that now. But I don't know, but I just have less than high hopes for this franchise. Well, yeah, now it's a franchise now, so I'm not really excited to see what happens next. Sorry.
All right, well, that's how it is.
All right, so Ricardo, where can we find you online, buddy?
Passat, RMEDDY, that is at RMEDDY on Twitter, and then you can just type in Ricardo Medina on Facebook, you can find me there.
Alright, you could find me on Twitter as well, just look for Legally Black MJB, MJB capital letters. You could also find me on Facebook, just look for my name, Matthew Bailey, alongside a Legally Black blog official fan base, where you find a link to this podcast as well as the others that we've done before. Also, you can find me on Instagram, just look for Matthew Bailey Reviews, and also on Stardust as well. I actually put up my second minute-long review. In this case, it is about Pacific Rim Uprising. So, check that out and check out the app as well, too. It's pretty dope.
Nice.
Alright. So, in closing, huge bombshell I gotta throw here.
Yeah.
Next episode is gonna be a milestone, baby.
Okay.
A milestone for this series here. Because, believe it or not, baby, we hit that big 100, baby.
Nice.
Next episode will be the 100th episode of BS Pizza Media. Can't believe I think this. This is amazing. And what we'll do, or at least what I plan on doing, unless something else bigger comes up, is I had this idea for a retrospect review, where we talk about two iconic sci-fi movies. In this case, we spoke about it months ago, actually, Ricardo. These two movies in particular are Planet of the Apes,
right,
and 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Right,
both
nice.
of which came out on the same day.
Yeah, and had apes in it.
Yes, and both had apes in it.
Yeah.
So we will be doing a retrospect review on that. We will talk about.
Yeah, I don't mind rewatching. I don't mind rewatching either of those films.
Yeah. 2001 I actually have on Blu-ray. I actually have well, come to think of it, I have nearly all of Stanley Kubrick's films because I am a huge fan.
Yeah.
I think he is the greatest director that ever lived, right?
Cool.
But Planet of the Apes is one that I haven't watched in quite some time, though. Not to say that I hated the film. I actually enjoyed it. But I know you are a huge fan of it, but I just need... Because, I don't know, for me, it's just comparing that to the reboot series, It's like that. That's me and this franchise. Like, yeah, this one was good, but I kind of like the reboot series, though. But it is an iconic piece of sci-fi cinema as well, just like 2001. So yeah, we will be talking about both films. We'll talk about if they still hold up to this day, and stuff like that.
Cool.
And other stuff to look forward to. Well, at least probably next month. Ready Player One.
Right, that's the next big push. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I am excited for this one. I hope it lives up to the hype. I mean, it's been getting some great reviews thus far, but then again, it's early reviews at the moment now, so I don't want to put this movie on a high pedestal as yet, but I really do want to see if this lives up to the hype, especially the fact that it's Spielberg directing this film. So yeah,
right.
You'll see how that turns out.
Cool.
And yeah, that's pretty much about it. So once again, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This was Match Bailey and
Ricardo Medina.
And we are signing off from another episode of BSB to Bailey. So until the next one, take care. Peace.
Peace.
Sleepdealer.